Okay, great to see everybody on this Monday morning, Monday afternoon. I hope you're doing well. We're going to do a short Rashi from our Parsha today of Korach from the second Aliyah. It's an interesting Parsha, also a challenging Parsha as things devolve. We started in Baaloscha, things already were going bad. In last week's Parsha, things go worse. In this week's Parsha, they continue to go in that downward spiral, which is hard to read, but also interesting to analyze a little bit. Just to give a little bit of background up to our Aliyah today, just going backwards a little bit in the Parsha. Of course, the Parsha begins with Korach's claims against Moshe and Aaron, etc. And really, there's a little bit of a back and forth between Moshe and the Bnei Kahas and the Korach's group, and the Bnei Ruvain, Dathan, Va'aviram. So just to review kind of the back and forth a little bit, you'll see an interesting progression. The first claim really against them by these rebels is Madua tisnasu al Ka'al Hashem. Why do you raise yourself up above the rest of Ka'al Hashem? So why have you become the chosen leaders of the people when the rest of us are holy as well? Moshe's initial response is nothing. Vayishma Moshe vayipol al panav. He doesn't say a word. He falls on his face, which is a sign of tefillah. It's a sign of mourning. It's also a sign of humility, right? In great contrast to the claim that the Bnei Korach are making of him, he actually just takes it in great humility. He falls on his face. And maybe that was the most powerful response of all, is no response, right? So I don't need to respond to people who are claiming that. I know it's not true. I know I've been designated by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I know why I'm here. I know what purpose I'm serving. I know that I'm not letting it get to my head. So I'm just going to take a step back. I'm going to daven. I'm going to do tshuva. I'm going to continue to act humbly. That's his first response. But they don't let it go at that, of course. Then they introduce the whole idea of the competition. Boker v'yoda Hashem es asher lo. We want a competition in the morning. God will choose who's the right one. And after that whole argument about creating a competition, Moshe does engage with them. He starts to speak. And that's when he says to them, Shimuna b'nei Levi, hama'at mikem ki yivdil elokei Yisrael etchem, me'adad Yisrael la'akriv etchem elav la'avodas avodas mishkan Hashem, la'amod lifnei ha'edah l'sharsam. Isn't it enough? God did choose you. You are also leaders. You're also the chosen ones. You're holy ones. You have a role to play. Is that not enough for you? Hama'at mikem, that now you're going to make all these claims against us? So he doesn't even argue anything about himself in this case or anything about Hashem. He just counters their argument with saying to them that you're already chosen. What do you need this for? So it's like the next ramping up of the engagement. Moshe first doesn't engage at all. Then he says, Hama'at mikem? Really? Is this really the strategy you want? You already have a role. You already have leadership. Is this really the path you want to take? It's like a very, I wouldn't call it innocent, but a very low level kind of argument. He's not arguing against them. He's not arguing against the idea of what they're saying. He's just kind of saying, is this really what you want? Is this really in your best interest? But then when they push him further, and then when the Bnei Ruvain, Dastan, Va'aviram refuse to even show up to be able to converse with him or to engage with him, that's when things really go wrong. That's when it gets ramped up further. Vayichar leMoshe. Then he gets very upset. Me'od. Vayomer el Hashem. And then he turns to Hashem without even engaging them, right? Which is the most angry response. You could lash out at someone, that's anger. When you are so angry, you can't even speak to the person, right? You have to turn to Hashem. And he says to Hashem, whatever they do, don't accept their korbanos. Don't accept their sacrifices. So he tries to stop them in a different way. But at this point, he's really upset. And in that moment of being upset, he says the following, right? He gets very upset. Vayomer el Hashem, al teifen el minchasam. Number one, don't accept any of their offerings. But then he offers an argument in his own favor, okay, to support his own view of leadership. And it's unclear what it's doing here. He's not saying this to the people. He's saying this to Hashem. If he was arguing to the people, I'm a good leader, you should follow me, that's one thing. But he's really saying it to Hashem, which makes me think that maybe he's actually saying it to himself. Maybe Moshe, in this moment of real frustration at the people, starts to question his own leadership and has to support his own idea of him being the leader. And the support that he offers for his validity as a leader is not grabbing power. It's not tisnasu al Ka'al Hashem. It's not, raising themselves up with great honor against the rest of the congregation. He says, Lo chamor echad mehem nasasi. I never took one of their donkeys. Velo hareosi es echad mehem. I never harmed one of them. What do they have against me? I never took their donkeys, and I never harmed them. So I never harmed them, I understand. That's an argument. And again, here it's to Hashem, or really to himself. He's saying, what do they want from me? I'm so frustrated. What are they claiming, that I'm raising myself up as this powerful leader above them? After all, I never hurt them. What do they have against me? And I never took one of their donkeys. What is never took one of their donkeys doing here? What does that phrase mean over here? How is that a justification of his leadership? So Rashi says, Lo chamoro shel echad mehem natalti, afilu kshehalachti mimidyan lemitzrayim, v'yerkavti es ishti v'espanai al hachamor, v'hayali li tolo so chamor meshelahem, lo nataltiv ela misheli. Now Rashi says, makes a lot of sense. Not taking their donkeys, what does that have to do with anything? What he's really saying here is an argument about leadership and his rightful qualities as a leader. He's saying, even when I traveled from Midian to Mitzrayim, which was for my job, Moshe is saying, right? It's for you, Bnei Israel. It was part of my mission. I could have taken one of your donkeys. I could have taken my pay, my schar, my reward, my pay, my salary. This is a benefit that I needed for work, right? I needed my work car, to be able to travel to Mitzrayim, my work donkey. I could have taken this from you, or really deducted this from what you owe me, however you want to exactly phrase it. But he's saying, you owed me that donkey. I was doing it for you. And yet I never took from you. Even then, I took my own donkey with my family. What he's saying to them is, not only am I a rightful leader, not only did I not harm you, but I've actually given to you more than you even know. Even in times when I could have claimed something from you, I could have required payment from you, so to speak, for my job. Even then, I forego that kind of honor. I forego that kind of payment. I forego that kind of hierarchy and reciprocity. I'm just literally doing this out of the goodness of my heart and the desire to follow the will of Hashem. So with that Rashi in mind, we understand a little bit better why he's saying Lo chamor echad mehem, and what the argument is here about his rightful place in the leadership chain over here. Thank you so much, and hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.